So okay, stage 3, we now need a new layer. So we're going to bring up the layers palette. If you can't see it already, go to window, then come down and choose layers. So you see in this layers palette, we currently have background. And that is our starting original sort of layer. Along the bottom of the layer palette, you'll see that there's these different icons, and second from the right, there's one which looks like a new page. If you hover over it, it will say create new layer. So if I left click on this, you'll see that I've now got a new layer. So I'm going to double click on the text where it says layer 1. I'm going to change this to moon. Once I've typed in my name, I'm going to hit return. And that is our layer set up. Okay, so our next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a selection. And our selection is going to be a circle. So if we come over to our toolbox, you'll see that we've got a rectangular marquee tool. That's probably what you can see at the moment. Again, if you hold down the left mouse button on this icon, you'll get a pop-up. If you move across and then down a little bit, you'll see that you've got the elliptical marquee tool. So if you make sure you've got this one hovered over and release, you'll see that you've now changed to the elliptical marquee tool. Make sure that you've got your moon layer selected, and you can tell it's selected by the fact that it's blue. And then we're going to click and drag whilst holding down the shift key. So just wait until you've got something that you think is kind of moon-like. There you go, job done. So now what we need to do is we need to fill this with a colour. So again, we're going to choose a foreground colour. So left click on our foreground colour choice. Now we're going to come down to these yellows, exactly the same as we did before, but for a different colour. I'm going to choose a nice kind of yellowy cream sort of colour, and that'll do. So we want to fill this. So we want to use our normal paint bucket tool. So there we go. Left click and drag, release. And I'm now just going to click on here. And that's the start of our moon. So now we need to remove our selection, and we're going to do that with the keyboard shortcut Control and D, or you can go to Select, Deselect. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a couple of funky things that you can do by working on layers. So we've got our moon layer selected, and we have an effects menu on our layers. So if we left click on the FX icon, which is the second icon from the left, that gives us a drop down. So I'm going to choose outer glow. Just going to move this out of the way so that we can see what we're doing. So now we can play around with these options. I'm going to grab my spread. No, I'm not. I'm going to grab the size. You can see just by doing that, we can add a sort of halo effect around our moon, just to make it a little bit more atmospheric.